In this video, we will be looking at how to use the Magic II infrared homing missile when in the Mirage 2000C. We will go over the theory of such a weapon and its various parameters, how to prepare the missile for delivery, how to fire the Magic II and the various search patterns it can use, and how the radar can be used to aid in the delivery of your Magic IIs. Hello fellow virtual aviators, we are back in the tremendously transcendental Mirage 2000C, and today we are looking at the use of our first air-to-air weapon, the Magic II missile. It's a beautiful day over the eastern Mediterranean Sea, where we are just off the coast of Israel near the ancient city of Haifa, over which there are some hostile aircraft who are about to meet their demise to a Magic II. Now, if you are familiar with how the Magic II works, please feel free to skip the next section, but first, a short presentation on some important concepts. In this briefing, we are looking at the Matra R.550 Magic II missile. Magic is a backronym of the phrase missile autoguidé interception et combat, in French the interception and combat self-guided missile. The Magic II was introduced in 1986 as a development of the original Magic missile. It is a short-range missile and therefore is used within visual range, primarily for defensive purposes when dogfighting or when intercepting low-threat targets. The Magic II is an infrared homing missile, or more generally speaking, a heat seeker. Its NATO brevity code is therefore FOX-2. French military doctrine has largely favoured native products rather than purchasing similar weapons from allied partners. Hence, the Magic II is France's answer to the AIM-9 Sidewinder, as used by other Western air forces, and in development terms, it is comparable with the AIM-9M variant, a highly manoeuvrable, all-aspect missile with a narrow conical seeker head pattern. The Mirage 2000C can carry up to 4 Magic II missiles on its outboard hardpoints. However, standard doctrine is to carry 2 in order to free up hardpoints for other ordnance. Like other missiles of this class, the seeker head of each Magic II missile searches in front of itself for a high contrast signal, generated by the infrared radiation or heat of an aircraft. Typically, the effective maximum range of this search will be between 5 and 8 nautical miles before the Magic II can IR lock onto its target. This is determined by various factors such as the size and emission of the target and its aspect, but importantly, the Magic II is an all-aspect missile. This means that it can lock onto a target regardless of the direction of its travel. Older infrared homing missiles were rear aspect only, meaning they could only lock on from behind the target. When a significant signal is detected by the Magic II, the seeker head will automatically IR lock the target and uncage. This means that the Magics are no longer searching in their default area and will effectively follow the target. The seeker head's gimbal is limited, so the lock may be lost if you manoeuvre away before firing the missile. An IR lock is required in order to fire the Magic II. As a supplementary feature, the Magic II has various selectable scan patterns, which you can use to force the seeker head to search in different areas of the sky. Useful if you haven't yet made visual contact with the target. Additionally, at longer ranges, the radar can be employed to help guide the Magic II's seeker head to its target. Consider this situation here. The hostile is out of range of the Magic's scan, but is certainly in range of the Mirage's RDI radar, and can be locked into a PSID track-while scan or a PSIC single-target track. By using in-cockpit controls, the Magic can then be slaved to the radar lock. In other words, it can be made to point in the same direction as the target and follow its trajectory, even though the Magic itself is out of acquisition range for its own IR lock. This helps you prepare for the attack in advance and lessens pilot workload, as the radar will manage the Magic II's acquisition for you. As the distance between you and the target decreases, the slaved magic will continue to point at the target until it comes into acquisition range, before automatically IR locking as before. A word of caution, however: whilst the benefits of using radar assistance have been amply demonstrated here, there are tactical reasons why you may not wish to utilise the radar, for example, in an attempt to remain undetected. Before the Magic II can be employed effectively in combat, it is important to understand its parameters and learn about the advantages and disadvantages of using the various modes of employment. If you haven't already, I recommend you familiarise yourself with the concepts discussed in this briefing before proceeding to the next section of the tutorial. Thank you for listening. Now let's see how the R.55 Magic II missile is employed in our beloved Mirage 2000C. Okay, so we are searching for targets and are going to employ Magic II missiles against them. In this example we are just focusing on Magic II missiles, so I have gone for the fruity configuration of carrying 4 of them rather than the standard 2. So the first thing we are going to do is select the missiles by placing the CNM switch into the magic position, which we covered in our previous tutorial on stores management. We should see that MAG flashes on the HUD, and the general layout of the HUD symbology has changed. Airspeed and altitude are now central. My waypoint navigation information has disappeared. We now have an accelerometer indicating my current G loading, and the letters G and D have appeared at the bottom of the HUD, indicating I have at least one magic missile on both the left and right. With Magic II missiles equipped, I should see MAG illuminated on the Magic Standby button on the PPA panel. This is one check to see that the Mirage's weapon systems have detected the presence of Magic II missiles and pylons on the wing hardpoints. At this stage, I should verify that a P is also illuminated, standing for Prêt or Ready. The Magic II seeker heads must be cooled for them to function effectively, and this illuminated P tells us that the missiles have been sufficiently cooled and are ready to use. This cooling normally happens during engine startup, after which you have approximately 90 minutes worth of coolant. Beyond 90 minutes and the magics become ineffective. If you know you're about to fly a long sortie, you can save your coolant by depressing the Magic Standby button to extinguish the P light. You can then recool your missiles just before you enter the combat zone by pressing the button again. The P will flash, indicating that the cooling process is happening and will be steady when it is complete, and the process normally takes just over 30 seconds. Be advised, however, that every time you restart the cooling process, approximately 10 minutes worth of coolant is lost in order to rapidly prepare the missiles for use, so I advise you do not constantly switch in and out of Magic Standby. Otherwise you will very quickly render your magic missiles useless. Also on the PPA panel is the Missile Selector switch, which allows us to prioritise which missile should fire with one of 3 selections: left or gauche, right or droite, or automatic. This is used if you want to balance your weapons loadout if it is uneven after an engagement. Generally, however, I leave this set to automatic. Remember, as you fence in, to switch the master arm switch to arm, after which you should see MAG on the HUD is no longer flashing and is now steady. This indicates that the missiles are ready to fire. Looking out to our outboard weapon stations, and we can see the Magic IIs. The front of the missile and the gold-coloured lens-like apparatus constitutes the seeker head. The seeker heads are searching for a target in the current mode roughly in this area here, centered on the longitudinal axis of the Mirage, represented by this bore sight cross. We will look at the other background search modes shortly, but for now we need to maneuver our aircraft until our target is within acquisition range and inside this search area. Generally, the closer you can bring a target to the bore sight cross, the more chance you have of achieving a magic IR lock. In our first engagements, we are going to utilize the Magic II without radar assistance. So to ensure this, let's silence our radar. This is indicated by SIL on the VTB. Now I am only relying on the Magic's seeker head to search and lock the target. Okay, I have just spotted a Sukhoi Su-25 Frogfoot ahead of me, so I'm going to maneuver him towards my bore sight cross to try and achieve a magic lock. There he is. He is still quite far away, so it may take a little time just to get a little bit closer to him before I achieve it. And there we go. We've achieved the lock. The presence of the magic IR lock is indicated by the continuous audible tone. The aircraft that is being locked is indicated by a circle which tracks the target. Circles around the G and D indicate which missiles have achieved an IR lock. A circled G signifies at least one of our left side Magic IIs are locked. A circle D, at least one right side Magic is locked, and both circled, both are locked, and the Mirage's weapon system will choose which one to fire if missile selection is set to automatic on the PPA panel, based on which side gives the best probability of kill. With a lock achieved, the missiles are now uncaged and will follow the target. If the target moves out of the limits of the hood, the circle becomes dashed to show in which direction the target is, bringing the target back into the hood, and the circle will return to normal. The IR lock will be lost if it goes beyond the gimbal limits of the seeker head, automatically returning the Magic II to acquisition mode. So let's reacquire the lock on the target. There he is, just up ahead. Lock acquired. When you are ready to fire the missile, press and hold the second stage of the trigger until it is released. Holding the trigger for more than 2 seconds would release a second missile. When the Magic II is selected using the CNM switch, it defaults to a vertical scan pattern as already shown. The search area roughly corresponds to this rectangle here. There are, however, alternatives to this and can be used at your discretion. The first is the narrow vertical scan pattern and is accessed by pressing the Magic Search Vertical Fix switch, otherwise known as the Nav Update Magic Unlock switch on your HOTAS. The narrow vertical scan pattern forces the Magic IIs to search within these delimiting brackets here, useful if you already have visual contact on the target, as the narrow search is quicker to acquire the lock. Pressing the button again returns to the standard vertical scan pattern. The other alternative is a horizontal scan pattern, which corresponds to a search area approximately equal to this rectangle here, so the missile scan areas beyond the limits of the hood. It is very similar to the BAH horizontal radar scan we have seen in a previous tutorial, but try not to equate these IR lock scan patterns with radar searches and locks. To access the horizontal mode, when I have the Magic missile selected, we press the button under Magic on the PCA panel. S will illuminate to indicate that the selection has been made, and MAG will change to MAV. This stands for Magic Veil or Magic Background Search, a related function but nonetheless a way of checking you are in horizontal mode. Symbology on the HUD also tells us we are in horizontal scan mode. The double arrowhead next to MAG is now horizontal, where previously it was vertical. Horizontal mode also has a narrow search equivalent, and is accessed in the same way, by pressing the Magic Search vertical fix switch on your HOTAS. In our next example, we are going to employ radar assistance to help us guide our Magic II seeker heads to our nominated target, and provide us with some tactical information which may increase the probability of our kill. So let's switch the radar back to emit. We'll select the Magic IIs with the CNM switch. And let's go and see if we can find a target beyond visual range using the VTB. Okay, there's a potential target there. Let's just IFF him first, and let's put him into a PCID track while scan. To help maintain the radar lock, I will place him into a PSEC single target track when I get closer to him. Because I am now using the radar, I now have some additional symbology on the HUD. The position of the target that I have in PCID or PSEC lock is indicated by the square. This number here tells me the calculated aspect of the target in degrees. 0 degrees would tell me the target is flying cold away from me. 180 degrees would tell me the target is travelling hot straight towards me. And 90 degrees would tell me it is beaming or travelling tangentially, and so on. The number here is the calculated closure rate in combined knots. When this number is positive, I am closing on the target. When negative, the target is increasing its distance to you. This is the range scale, and this caret is the target range in nautical miles, or hectometers when under 2 nautical miles. The axis will automatically adjust to suit the target range. These 3 lines relate to the Magic II's effective range. The upper small line shows the maximum range of the Magic II should the target make no evasive manoeuvres and continues to travel at its current heading on speed. The larger line shows the maximum range of the Magic II should the target make evasive manoeuvres, and ideally, you do not want to fire your missile until the target range is below this. The lower small line shows the minimum range of the Magic II, and the missile must be fired before closing on this distance to the target to give the missile enough time to arm itself and manoeuvre. These are the interception director circle and the director point. These are steering cues to help you guide you into an appropriate employment zone for your currently selected weapon. So ideally, we must steer the aircraft to place the point at the center of the circle to maximize our chance of hit when we fire the Magic II. With the target locked by the radar, I can now press the Magic Slave switch on the HOTAS to slave the seeker heads to the target position. In doing so, I now have a flashing circle within the radar lock square. This indicates that the seeker heads are pointing towards the target, but have not acquired a Magic II IR lock yet, ostensibly as we are still too far away. The Magic's ranging information is also shown on the VTB on the target azimuth line, here at the bottom. The same symbology, the same 3 lines. I can see through target recognition that this is an A50 mainstay, so let's go and get him. Okay, I have the magic IR lock tone, meaning my missiles are uncaged and tracking the target. I've picked this target up from quite far away, as it's a large aircraft emitting a lot of infrared radiation. My target marker on the hood has also changed. When my radar lock and magic IR lock coincide on the same target, the marker becomes a triangle. Okay, so I have deliberately unlocked the target from its radar lock, and I am going to reacquire him with a close combat radar mode that we have covered in a previous tutorial. So let's see if we can find him. I'm using vertical search. There we go. So let's slave our magics to it. It's put me straight into a coincidental lock with the triangle. And as I bring it into range, the interception director circle doubles when I am within maximum range. And the shoot cue, TIR, standing for tirer, the French word for shoot, appears when I am within the no escape range. I can also hear that my lock tone has changed to give me an audible shoot cue, 2 alternating and repeating tones. It only remains for me to maneuver the Mirage to bring the interception director dot towards the circle. It doesn't have to be in the center, at which point I can release the Magic II with a high probability for a hit. The important thing is you want to give your missile some lead. So move it over like that, and fire. A50s are tough mothers, so let's come around and give her another one. Like all IR homing missiles, they are susceptible to flare countermeasures, but didn't work on this time, and he's going down. Here we've picked up another target, so let's close in on him. I've already slaved my missiles to him. If the interception director circle in the center of the hood begins to flash, this generally means that the target aircraft is making evasive maneuvers. It can also mean that your target is moving out of the gimbal limits of your radar. So we have our shoot cues, let's just maneuver to give the missile some lead and fire. Booyah! Lovely jubbly. Well, as ever, I hope that was useful for you. We'll be looking at interception techniques and tactics in a future video. With continued thanks to my patron, the indefatigable Jan11, feel free to do the usual thing, like, subscribe, comment and share. And until next time, virtual aviators, I look forward to seeing you online in the skies. This is Reiver saying, last call.